Hello, guys. I am Mrs. Mays, your Verizon Innovative Learning Schools coach, and today I'm going to go over how to navigate ClassroomScreen and how it can support your lesson prep. So let's begin. Once we log into ClassroomScreen, it is going to prompt us to either upgrade or get started. We're going to click Get Started, and this is going to open up a new feature. Today we're going to be focusing on is our text, embed, timer, and our work systems. So here at the bottom is our widgets. These will allow us to access those different parts within ClassroomScreen. The first one we're going to get started with is the text widget. When I click the text widget, it will auto-populate on my screen. I'm going to resize it and put it at the top so that I can place my lesson objective there. And so once I have that text widget open, I'm going to go to a lesson plan and grab my learning objective. And once I go back to my screen, I'm going to enter it in there. And so now we have our learning objective. I'm going to turn these into I can statements. So I can explain the role of pigments in the process of photosynthesis, and I can identify the reactants and products of photosynthesis. And so now that I have my I can statements, I want to resize it so that my students will be able to see them and make sure that it is viewable across the top. Now, if the text is larger than the box, you can use the scroll feature. But for the most part, you should not need that. Today, we're going to be focusing on photosynthesis. So I'm going to go in and change my background to something that's a little bit more suitable. They have a library of backgrounds, but you can also upload your own. And so I'm going to select this one page. My next piece I'm going to look at is my embed. So here where my widgets are, I do not see embed. So I'm going to click the waffle where you will be able to see more widgets. Here, I can see some different widgets, and my embed widget is here. All right. Now with this embed widget, in order for it to work, I have to go grab my HTML embed code from my presentation application. So this could be Canva Present, or it could be Google Slides. So if I go to my Google Slides, I go to File, I go to Share, and I go to Publish to Web. This is where I can publish my presentation so that a embed code is generated. So from it, I will go from link to embed. I will click Publish. I'll click OK, and then I will copy that code. Now, once I copy that code, I'm going to jump back to my screen, and I'm going to paste that code in there. And if I move these widgets out the way, I'll click Run Code, and I should see my presentation. Nice. Now, this feature that I just showed was how you get rid of or hide your widgets. It'll be at the very bottom. If I click the up arrow, it'll return. If I click the down arrow, it will go away. So again, up arrow, and then this down arrow removes it. Now, the embedded presentation functions like a regular presentation. If I click on it, it will go to the next slide. I can click through and you can see the different parts of my presentation. If I click play for the video, it'll also play. So we're going to go back to slide 1. Now, for this, I have a do now. Typically, my do now should take about 5 to 10 minutes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my timer widget. So from the landing page for widgets, I'm going to click timer. And then I'm going to set my timer for about 7 minutes, and I can start it. Now, each widget has a settings feature. This settings feature will open up the settings bar, and you can change the sound, you can change the default time, you can turn on and off the show timer in browser. That just means that the time will show, the time that has elapsed will show at your tab. You can also change the colors of your timer. I'm just going to do a clear background, and there we have it. You can resize it. If you resize it, it does look different. And then I'll click play, and that is the timer that will show as my students are working through their do now. Now, after the do now, I may want to do a cold call. And so for that, I would use the randomizer. This randomizer is very handy. It'll let you save up to 3 lists of names, and you can copy and paste it from a PDF document or a spreadsheet. So I'm going to click open settings. I can paste my list of names here or type them here, or if I've already created lists, which we'll see up here, I can select one from here. When I select my list, it will save from the last time I've used it. So I'm going to clear the list if I want all students to be called on. Here I can select and unselect names. So let's say Jack Hill is absent. I can unselect Jack from the list, and I can turn on and off sounds. And so let's begin. So I have my names here. I'm going to click the button after the names because it's the animation feature, and it's going to make that sound because of the sound feature is on. But if I turn the sound off, it will flip through the names, but it will not have the sound. And then if you notice in the remember section, this remembers the students that have already been called on. This is very helpful during cold calls so that you're not calling the same students over and over. And then also every student gets a chance to share out. And so if I turn off the animation, it will go directly to the next kid and keep going until my list is empty. Now, once my list is empty, I've went through all my kids. I want to clear the list and it will reset the same list. And when you're selecting students, you don't have to have the settings tab open. You can close it like so. And let's say we're doing the do now and I want to cold call someone. I click it. All right, John Doe, can you share what you want to know about photosynthesis? Nice. Jill Hill, can you share what you already know about photosynthesis? And you can just keep going through the list. So let's say in my agenda, I see my do now, my engage, vocabulary, explore, exit ticket, and cleanups. Let's say I want a little bit more structure with my time, and I want to add a timetable. This timetable will allow you to generate a checklist. And we're going to title it today's agenda. We're going to turn it into a checklist. We're going to click add activity. And so we'll do now, add activity, engage, vocabulary, explore, exit ticket, and cleanups. And so now that I have these items, I can make it clear or I can have a background. This time I think we're going to do a background. And so I can also resize my list. And basically now I just have a checklist of what we need to get through throughout the day. So now that we've done our do now, I can check that off my list. And then I'll go and we have our learning standard, our guiding questions, and then now we're at photosynthesis, which is lesson 1. And we're on our engage page, and once we do that, I'll check that off. Now, with this same list, I can also transition it to a timed schedule. Now, this is helpful if you are extremely structured or if you are working on improving your time structure. So, using this will help you be more aware of what you're doing and when you're doing it. So I'm going to go back to that agenda page where I have my timestamps, and I'm going to use that to help me edit my agenda for today. So now that I have all my items listed, my first class starts at 7:30 a.m. You need to change that based on the classes that you have. And so if you make a screen for a different class, you'll change the time that it starts. So for my do now, it is not 60 minutes, it is actually 5. So I'm going to enter 5 minutes in for my do now. For my engage, it is also 5 minutes. So I'll enter that in there. For my vocabulary, I'm going to take 10 minutes to go over the vocabulary for the day. For our explore, we're going to take 40 minutes to complete that section. For my exit ticket, I'm going to put in 5 minutes to complete that. And then for my cleanups, I'm going to put in 25 minutes. This should calculate my timers out for the entire class period. And look at that. Class ends at 9. I should be done if I follow my timer by 8:58. And so with this, it's just a quick reminder for you and your students for the progression of the class period and what it should look like. Again, you can have your alarm sounds, you can change them. Right now it's tropical. I can also change it to something a little bit more fun. And then that will go off whenever we've reached our time for those different activities. And then the last piece, you can change it to a list. The thing that I love about this is that whatever settings you have it on, it will save them automatically for you as you change them. So you can alternate between the three and work your way up to a time list. Now this plus sign here, you can go in and add pictures for each section. So like for my do now, I might do a bell because some people also call it bell ringer. And cleanups, I'll put like a book. And so now I just have miniature icons for each section of what we're doing. All right, and so I also want to go over how you can leverage these tools for means of participation. So let's say in my presentation, I have a turn and talk. So if I know I want students to turn and talk for 1 minute, it's labeled on my presentation, I can go to my timer and I can put 1 minute on the timer and I can get it started. And so again, my timer will go here and then I will see the timer countdown here. So let's say I also want to use another means of participation and we do a think, pair, share. Well, I want students to think for 30 seconds. So I can put 30 seconds on the timer, press play. Then I want them to pair, which is turn and talk. So I have them turn and talk for 1 minute and 30 seconds, and then I'll press play. And then we'll have 1 minute to share out. And so I will put 1 minute on the timer, use the name randomizer, and click play. And so Sally Mae will answer, and then I can refresh it. Tiana Kirkland will answer, and then we'll have Cinderella Gay answer. And here are just a few ways that you can use ClassroomScreen to support you with your lesson prep. I hope this helped, and please make sure you reach out to me if you need more support. Bye.